Okay, Rabbi, thank you for having me. We know 8:30 in Chabad means like 9 o'clock. You should know, I know the Rabbi, I think over 15 years. And I've seen him when he was in his little wagon in Lincoln Road, bothering everybody to put on tefillin, and you could see the amount of perseverance him and his wife have had. Really, God bless you guys. Nothing from Rabbi Katz but an open heart. You should know. He's very, very special. No ego, no politics, no territory. Anyway, you don't have that much competition in Lincoln Road anyway, Rabbi. So you don't have to worry about that. So today's class, we're going to do a class on how to deal with negative thoughts. Rabbi Nachman says, wherever your thoughts are, that's where you are. So it's very, very important on how to properly deal with our thoughts. Rabbi Nachman clearly said that our thoughts, when a person has negative thoughts, the first thing they do is they clog his heart. What does that mean when you clog your heart? A person thinks about something, he believes it, he clogs his heart, his emotions start kicking in, and basically it'll put him in a certain mood. You know, all of a sudden you think about something, somebody calls you, I don't want to deal with this guy. Obviously I'm a number one work on my mood, but we start recognizing how come our mood goes up and down so much. Why are we so up and down with the mood? Specifically in this month of Cheshvan, the darkness will begin. This is a tougher month where you have to work on your thoughts. You know, the holidays are over. Now is reality. Now it's going to be long winters. Hanukkah's coming. But the whole purpose of Cheshvan, we're in a flood. The flood is this week, and this week you're going to see persons a little bit more have a little bit more tendency towards negative thinking than another month. You could see the energy in the air. So today I'm going to give you about 6 to 7 ways our different sages dealt with thoughts. I'm going to also give you practical psychology on what's the best way. Again, do I have the 100% the answer? Probably not. But I can give you 7, 8 ways, and you decide what works for you. And I could definitely see some people are going to resonate one more with another, and you're going to see how much because in reality, it's not that we look at something, it's not like a camera. You see a camera, you take a picture, the picture comes out. It's after you see something, then you interpret it based on how you feel about yourself. And that's the meaning you give to thoughts. It's very important. That means 2 people or 5 people can look at something. Look at the news today. So 5 people can look at Trump, 3 are happy, 2 want to throw something at him. But it's because how we interpret things. So the basic point of this thing, if I want to have a better thinking pattern, I need to start observing my thoughts instead of attaching myself to our thoughts. This is one of the key elements in Rabbi Nachman's teachings, because it's one thing about looking at a waterfall, and one thing is being in the waterfall. So the concept of being mindful, observing, thinking instead of going into the waterfall. So let's start first by the Baal Shem Tov. What does the Baal Shem Tov say? Baal Shem Tov says that whatever we see in somebody else that we don't like, it's a reflection on us. That means if something bothers you about that person, one thing is this guy, okay, that's the way he is. You accept him. It doesn't bother you. But let's say that person bothers you and he's driving you crazy. The Baal Shem Tov says something very beautiful. He says the whole world was created for you to see signs in people so you can fix yourself. Not about you. About you mean everything's about me. About means I take everything personal. But there's things in specifically our spouses or specifically friends, people that annoy us. And the reason they're annoying us is because usually we have that exact same thing. You know, in life, you point it, you see the 3 fingers backwards. It's one thing to acknowledge it. This is the way God shows us how to fix ourselves. Like we said before, it's very important in life to focus on the message, not the messenger. That means there's a reason why you have a spouse the way you have. There's a reason why you have your mother the way you have. There's a reason why certain people in your life annoy the hell out of you. It's really, my classes are we get to the point. Why are these people annoying me so much? It's not just to say, I got bad luck. No, it's because I need to change something in me, in that person. And believe me, some of this feels like a root canal. Teshuvah, today in this world, 2019, it's more like a root canal. It's very painful. It's not easy to change yourself. It's not easy to give a benefit of the doubt. Specifically, why? Because our emotions are running the show. So I'm going to try to teach you today how to detach yourself from the emotions. So number one way, like the Baal Shem Tov says, start focusing on the message, not on the messenger. Specifically our spouses. That's really where what really bothers us. So once I know that, I start interpreting a situation with my spouse or with my kids completely different. Because your life is your lesson. Bottom line. Today, we do more instructing and less demonstrating. So truth is, in life, again, according to our sages, if you demonstrated enough, you wouldn't have to say a word. You wouldn't have to say a word. So if we really want lasting change in a partner, if we really want a lasting change in our kids, we need to do more demonstrating and less instructing. Because when demands begin, when you start making demands on people, love departs. Love departs. I can tell you this all day long. You start demanding things on people, I don't want to deal with this guy, he's too demanding, bad parenting, etc. You name it. So once I start seeing that concept, I start saying, you know what? I see this problem, I got to work on myself. What do I need to work on myself? This is a signal from Hashem. Now you're thinking big. Now you're not attaching, you're not giving away your energy to people. When you give away your energy to people, it's basically you lost. Because one day they're going to behave good, another day you're going to behave bad, one day you have no control of your life. So that's when we have to start becoming better, not becoming bitter. Number one. That's from the Baal Shem Tov mindset. Okay? So again, this is also the same problem we spoke about this week. What was Adam's problem? He blamed his wife. What did the snake do? What did Chava do? She blamed the snake. Blame doesn't work. Taking responsibility, I need to change what I need to focus on. Maybe I can't. Maybe I don't like that person because I don't like myself. How can I like him if I don't like myself? So maybe teaching us, you know what? This is a reflection of your character. This is a reflection of yourself. Clearly, Rabbi Nachman says that the way you think is based on your personality. If a person is giving, like Chabad, they can't throw anybody out here. I mean, if you get thrown out of Chabad, you got big problems. But their mindset is, look at the good in everybody. Everybody's good. There's no such thing as getting thrown out of Chabad. I mean, unless you really did something crazy. But their mindset, the minute somebody walks into Chabad, right away, give him a hug, give him a siddur. Are you keeping Shabbat? No questions. Just warmth. Breslev is a little different. Breslev will teach you, find the good in the person you can't stand. Yes, it's true you can't stand that person. Yes, it's true you're dealing with that situation. But your job is to extract the good. Because it's not, sometimes you can't love everybody. It's not so easy to love everybody. But your job is to not focus on the bad. Your job is to look at the good point in that person. And by looking at that good point in that person, you can actually change it. So that's the difference between the Chabad mindset and Breslev mindset. Which Rabbi Nachman recognized that you're going to have pain. You're going to have pain in life. You're going to have family struggles. Rabbi Nachman clearly said that if a person thinks that he's going to have a life with no family issues, he's completely delusional. He says your life is like a miniature world. We have Iraqs in our family. We have Irans in our family. We have all the nations in our family. And I said, I just want to make peace. No matter who you are, you could be the biggest guru. Nobody has peace with their family 100%. So I already recognize I can't go for something that I'm not going to be guaranteed to get. So it gives you more of a realistic mindset to say, okay, I'll be satisfied being dissatisfied. Not everything's going to go my way. Then you're more at peace with yourself. Again, if you see the message of Rabbi Nachman, it's very real. It's don't expect something and then get caught off guard and then be in a traumatic situation in your life. He's saying no matter who you are, you're a miniature world. The Zohar says also, man is a miniature world. Among him is all kinds of nations. And our job is to do what we can to make peace, but it's not going to be possible to make peace with everybody. So that's, again, that mindset tells me, okay, I'm satisfied. Nothing's going to be great. Not everything's going to be great. So that's the concept between Breslev of finding the good points in people, and Chabad loving everybody. Said. The second concept that we want to talk about in psychology is this concept called diffusion. We know one of the main jobs of the evil inclination, which we're going to get to now, or the ego, we could say, is to make you feel anxious or depressed. To make anything to be present in the moment. That's what the Yetzer Hara's job is. To make you anxious, where you can't even be focused on anything, where you always think that the next moment is better than the next moment, the next relationship is better than the next relationship, or it'll make you get stuck in the past. You had an incident, something happened, and you got stuck there. The Yetzer Hara's job is because if I want to have gratitude in my life, I need to be one where? Present. And obviously it's easier said than done. Easier said than done to be present in this generation, specifically with all the things that happen. But if we recognize that if I stay in the future or if I dwell in the past, I can't have gratitude. If I can't have gratitude, I can't be in the present. So now we have to recognize, what does my enemy want from me? Now, you could say, why does God want people to have such mental issues? Why does God want to have people to have such negative thoughts and all that? It's because you have to have it in order for free will. The Yetzer Hara, the evil inclination, has an equal part, because otherwise, like we said before, if you just woke up with mindfulness and everything was clear in your life, there's no purpose of you. The reward today that you get is overcoming darkness, is overcoming negativity, is overcoming a negative situation. That's the biggest reward. So you shouldn't feel bad that you're getting negative thoughts. You shouldn't feel bad that you're getting negative thoughts. You should feel good when you overcome them. When you don't let them depress you. When you don't let them become anxious. That's when you won. That's when you won the war. That's when Rabbi Nachman says that he gets great pleasure when he sees that a person gets negative thoughts and he's able to fight them. Specifically when a person is fighting in his business or something goes wrong in his business, the last thing he wants to do, the first thing he wants to do is completely escape. See, it's very easy in this generation to escape. It's a common condition. Not just people in addiction, not just people in recovery. Everybody wants to escape. Because there's a lot of darkness in this world. The world is not 100% full. But Rabbi Nachman's, at least he's holding our hands. He's holding our hands. And he's telling us, listen, you got this. You could do it. Fight a little bit more. That's Rabbi Nachman's message. He's not telling you, go to the Himalayas and be a yogi and look at the trees all day long. This is not Breslev. This is overcoming the constriction. Calling out to God in the constriction. When Hashem called Moshe, what did he tell him? Come to Egypt? No, he goes, come to Paro. Come to the constriction. I'm holding your hand. So there's a lot of constrictions in our life. What we do in those constrictions are based on our belief system. Is Hashem challenging me? Is Hashem threatening me? It's very important how you view those situations. So Chassidut, which is very opposite of the Christian model, will tell you had part of your sin was from the original sin from the past. Chassidut believes, don't dwell on the past too much because it's going to make you depressed. You made a sin, move on. See, in life, like we said, there's a minor sin and there's a major sin. The minor sin is the mistake. The major sin is dwelling over it. Feeling guilty all day long. Becoming depressed, God forbid. The milk spilled. You made a mistake. What's next? That's Chassidut. Because if we read the Parsha every single day, we read that God renews the world every day. If God renews the world every day, why am I living in the past? Why am I thinking about my sin? That's why, also from the Parsha of last week, of Adam. Adam sinned. What did God say? Ayeka, where are you? Where are you? Why are you going? Why are you hiding? You made a mistake. Come back. That's it. So it's very important. It's the venom that strikes. You make a mistake, and you have to get back. The Christian model is to get in shame and guilt. And today there's no question that shame and guilt is one of the reasons where people are stuck unfortunately in all kinds of addiction problems. All kinds of shame, guilt. What is it doing for you? So chaos exists. Our job is to overcome it, not to dwell on it. As you read the parsha of the week, first there's chaos, then there's light. Let's see the light. We don't want to stay in chaos our whole lives. So a lot of this is a mental strategy on how to properly interpret chaos. I can have a situation in my life and I can label it chaos. Yes, it's chaos. It is what it is. It's chaos, but I know there's light after this. It's not like this forever. But if you believe chaos is your state of being, then you never see light in life. That's when you give up on life. That's when a person has despair. When he says chaos is chaos, that's it. That's how people get stuck in trauma for 30 years. Yes, you had chaos. Now there's light. Find meaning in that trauma, find meaning in the chaos, and move on. That's the Chassidut approach. To never repeat the past again. Never dwell on it too much, because when you dwell on it too much, you can't get the future. That's why the tzaddikim say, very simple. It's not, somebody came up to Rabbi Natan, Rabbi Nachman's student, and told him he had a bad dream. And he wanted interpretation of that dream. What is this dream about, etc. He told him, I'm not really interested in what you're dreaming about. I'm really interested in what you're doing. Don't overpay too much attention to these things. Don't overthink things. Again, the Yetzer Hara's job also is to do one thing: create doubt in your mind. It's not going to work out. This is not going to work out. And this is a mental war that we have to constantly deal with. And this is something that if you don't have spirituality in your life, like we said, we can never think greater than we feel. Because otherwise we think by our default emotion. So Chassidut talk clearly. This is the Rebbe of Gur. He had harsh words for those who contemplated in the past. As a result of their self-incrimination, when we drown ourselves in the thoughts about past transgressions, we cannot change. This is the fundamental difference between the Christian attitude, which focuses on regretting the past, versus the Chassidut attitude, which focuses on retrospective therapy. Move. What does this mean? Find meaning, etc. I know today, if I didn't gamble 7 times and relapse 7 times, I would never be in the recovery business today. I had to get terrible addiction 20 years ago to open up rehab centers. Am I going to talk about the recovery? No, that's what got me there. So we all have that story that something happened to us, and next thing you know, that turned your life around, and you got somewhere else. Because you weren't going there your own way. So you got your car flipped over. Or somebody, she had stomach problems, next thing you know, she's coming out coconut cookies. And helping people with all kinds of amazing cookies. What are the name of the cookies again? Nature's Cocktail. She used to give me free cookies, so I used to sponsor the cocktail. But we don't say that anymore. Just kidding. So our sages clearly say, depart from evil and do good. Stop thinking about, is this mud? Who gave me the mud? It's mud. Push it away and move on. So again, that is the difference between the Christian concept and Chassidut. Chassidut believes in the moment is brand new. So if I believe in that moment right away, it's very easy for me to dwell on. Because again, if Hashem's telling me stop dwelling on the sin, what are you doing now? Ayeka, what are you doing now? Then why should I self-incriminate myself if Hashem's telling me to move? So it's a very important message to not dwell too much on that, because he says here, sometimes, the Baal Shem Tov says, sometimes the Yetzer Hara misleads you and tells you that you've committed a major sin, when it was only a minor one. You overdid it. And all he wants to do is make you depressed, like we said. So that's the job of the ego. The ego is the Yetzer Hara. The ego's job is to block perception. Next. What does Rabbi Nachman say about negative thoughts? Rabbi Nachman says that the way God created the world, from Parshas Bereshit, God created the world with 2 yuds. If you see, God created man with 2 yuds. He created an animal with 1 yud. Why did he add an extra yud when he created man? Very simple. Because you have 2 thoughts. You have good thoughts and you have bad thoughts. Good thoughts represent your Yetzer Tov. Negative thoughts represent your Yetzer Hara. Very important concept. Let's simplify it. If I have a good thought, it's coming from a good place. If I have a self-incriminating thought, a negative thought, a thought of belief, whatever it is, guilt, etc., it's coming from the Yetzer Hara. Right away, you need to recognize that. When you know that right away, then you start becoming an observer. Who's trying to put ear? Next thing you know, how many times does this happen? People go out on 1 date, 2 dates, everything's amazing. The 3rd date, I don't know what happened. The lighting is not good, she looks different. I don't know what happened. You hear these conversations, you think you're in a movie. I don't know, the 3rd date, what happened? Where did she go? I mean, what could have changed so much about that person in 2 days? November, I mean, what happened? Frostbite? What happened to the girl? There's the Yetzer Hara. Because the Yetzer Hara sees, wow, this guy might propose to her. This might be the zivug. So what does the Yetzer Hara do? She tries to get in the way. Next thing you know, you don't see the lighting the right way, puts a doubt in your face, maybe it's not for me. So what happens is, if you expect to be in a relationship without any speed bumps, you're delusional. Expect them. Expect the speed bumps. Because something that's really good in life has to have speed bumps. To block, to create an option where the Yetzer Hara can get you. So it's normal to have speed bumps. Don't come in there and say, everything's going to be great, 1 speed bump. See, it's not for me. It's not for me. I don't like her aunt's cousin. Huh? I mean, you hear these stories. The aunt's cousin, this is what knocked you out? What are you going to be guaranteed anything? You're not guaranteed nothing in life. What do you think? Just because you get married, things are not going to change afterwards? Things will change. Because you shouldn't always want things to go your way. Again, Rabbi Nachman's telling us already. Expect the prick in the rose. It's okay to have. A rose must have thorns. It's okay. A rose has a thorn. It's normal. But if I want a perfect rose with no thorns, I'm not going to get a rose. I'm not going to get it. I'm going to be waiting a long time to get a rose. So the Yetzer Tov is a good inclination. The Yetzer Hara is the evil inclination. Obviously, there's ways. Obviously, people you do have to break up with. I'm giving you a general statement, but you can't say, after the 3rd date, something magically changed in the person. People just start. This is coming from the Yetzer Hara. You need to understand that. Believe me, I got that feeling also. I get those feelings, but I know this is the Yetzer Hara. He's trying to block me. He's trying to ruin my blessing. Always happens to you, I guess. Rabbi Nachman says, when a person thinks of a negative thought, he dwells on it, it clogs up his heart. When I am clogged up in my heart, what's the problem of being clogged up in my heart? Then I'm closed. I'm closed. Somebody says something to me, I'm closed, emotionally closed. I have a better opportunity for you. Nah, I'm not in the mood. What happened? Something happened. I interpreted the wrong way. I labeled it negative. It clogged my heart. Now, the problem with this concept is if I don't change my thinking right away, that opportunity can't come to me now because I'm fully occupied. It's like having a hotel that you're losing money, fully booked. What are you going to do? Fully occupied, the hotel, and you're losing money. Impossible for you to win. You can't win. What do you need to do? Either get everybody out, raise the prices, but you can't continue like that. So Rabbi Nachman says when you're dwelling on something negative, when you have a story, when you have a negative belief system, you know what it is? It's like spoiling your whole creation. Imagine somebody gets divorced and they take it personal, I hate men. Meanwhile, she should have been remarried again. She could have married another person. But I hate men. I hate this. Gave a general comment. What happens? Somebody comes, a prospective zivug. No, I hate this. That's it. Case closed. Finish. What day did your day stop? Whatever that incident happened. 2016, 2017. You got stuck on 1 date. That's how you clog up your space of creation. When I am closed-minded, When I'm emotionally, when my emotions are running my life, I am closed to anything good. I cannot allow anything good, because if anything good comes to me, I'm stuffed already. I already dictated something happened in my life. I gave it a meaning. I clogged my heart. That's it. That's it. So unless you take a massive action and say, you know what? Instead of questioning God so much, why He did this to me, I'm going to start questioning my thinking. Wow. When you start questioning your thinking and stop questioning God, you're going to see magic in your life. You're going to see magic. You'll feel 100 times better. Because if you question God all the time, what answer are you going to get? What answer? So basically, we're trying to play God. So it's very important to not attach yourself to any negative emotion. It's okay to notice it for 5 minutes, 10 minutes, but not 10 years, or not 5-10 hours. That is our job. We're human beings. Name it to tame it. You have a negative emotion, name it. Okay, I'm feeling distressed, I'm feeling this. Why? To tame it. We do not want these negative thoughts to clog our hearts. It's okay to feel upset, it's okay to feel like that, it's okay to have a rough day, like we say, a bitter day, but we don't want to make it a permanent vacation, a permanent state. That's where the problem is. So cognitive therapy focuses on looking at our thoughts rather than from our thoughts. Looking, observing without judgment. Oh, I'm thinking about this. And like I've said many times, every time I want to go do a class, 2 hours before, I don't feel like it. I gotta go drive there, I don't feel like it. Always happens to me. Especially when I'm on the road. Oh, I can't believe it. Why? You know what, the hotel's nice, the spa's here, maybe tomorrow. It's always I get that major Sahara to not do it. And I have to push myself, and I get that exhaustion right before. And it always happens to me. Always happens, that exhaustion right before I want to do something good. To get me in the bad mood and say, no, I don't want to do it. Always happens to me. His bodhidu, try meditating, always get that bad mood. And I'm teaching this, I'm trying to explain to you. But once you start noticing that I don't care what I'm thinking about, I'm going to be more focused on doing than thinking, then after you do, you feel good. Get me? We don't want to get to the habit of relying on feelings, on moods, to determine our behavior. Because imagine if you did that when you worked out, you would be very obese right now. Because you would never feel like working out sometimes. You're tired, you're exhausted. So we have to get to understand that the hesitation, the negative, there's a reason why I'm getting this negative spirit. Maybe it's trying to prevent me from something good. It's a very important concept. Because if I'm just relying on moods all the time, I'm relying on my feelings all the time, I'm completely finished. That's another thing Rav Nachman says. Once you get going, and he says, even if you don't feel like praying, you know what he tells you? Force yourself to pray. Start screaming. And then once you get going, you're gonna feel it. He's not telling you, wait for the perfect moment to come. No, start getting going, and then you'll feel it. That means we could basically take all the motivation stuff today and basically throw it out the window. Do not rely on motivation in life. Do not say, I need to feel motivated. It's the wrong mindset. Imagine somebody came to you, your employee, and says, I need to be motivated to come work today. Can you imagine calling your boss, I need to be motivated to bring me to work? You would tell him, do me a favor, don't come. I'm going to motivate you to work. So we don't want to be motivated. We don't want to be in the habit of getting motivated. Very important concept. It's not a good sign, because that means there's a lot of procrastinating going on. Needing motivation is a sign that I need something to happen to get me going. No, get going, and the feeling will come. So that's another Rav Nachman saying, don't rely on the feeling, get going. And I've seen many times where I don't feel like doing something, but once I got going, motion started kicking in. Once you're in motion, that's it. You stay in motion. But if you stay at rest, you're going to stay at rest, I promise you. You got to get moving, specifically when it's difficult. When it's difficult, you need to get moving. You need to get moving. We always say the biggest Yetzer Hara a person has is his alarm clock. As an alarm clock. But once you're up, you recognize, why do I want to sleep? I'm up. You recognize that once you get going, the sleep goes away. Okay? That is Rabbi Nachman's concept, that recognizing that we do have these two thoughts, everybody across the board. God created us like that. There's nothing wrong with you. You're not bipolar because you think negative thoughts. It's called the Yetzer Hara. It's called the ego. It's called... Many people confused. I don't know why I'm getting mood swings. Because you're just paying attention to whatever you think. My doctor said I'm bipolar. There is cases of bipolar, but this is not bipolar. This is lack of mindfulness. Paying attention to whatever you feel like it. And I speak to many people in my recovery center. All kinds of things they tell me they are. This, I'm ADD, I'm this. At the end of the day, we realize most of it is nonsense. It's all nonsense. Because it's easy to say, I'm this, so I don't really have to work. It's easy. Give me a title, means I don't really have to work. Of course, there's real cases of mental illness. Absolutely. But we have to be careful that maybe you're wrong. And now, next thing you know, this is who you are. So we have to be really, really careful, specifically when Rabbi Nachman says that faith can break everything. He clearly says faith can break everything. Faith can change nature. Prayer can change nature. How many books today you see on neuroplasticity, that God changes your brain? How much you see today on science is coming out with the power of belief? How many things? There's millions of things. Radical transmission, the tumors going away by people changing their beliefs. How many? All we hear is this radical transmission. It's called faith. When faith happens, things disappear. You become a new person. You become a new identity. It's very important not to get stuck in that, God forbid, mindset. Another great book from Self-Esteem in the Talmud by Yisrael Roll. He says the way we have to look at thoughts is from our Shamah State. We obviously have Machshava means the thought. Neshama means a what? A soul. Like we said many times, it's very easy for me to forgive somebody if I'm in my soul state. Because I recognize it has nothing to do with me. I'm giving it because that's what God would do. God would forgive me, I would forgive him. Where is the problem of not forgiving people? Where's the problem of the anger, resentment? Is when we take things what? Personal. That's not the Machshava state. That's the ego state. That's the intellect running the show. That's the Yetzer Hara tells you, how could you forgive him? Look what he did to you. What, he's going to do it again to you. You see you're weak. You see you're showing weakness when you forgive him. All of this is not coming from... Where's that coming from, that movie? It's coming from your Yetzer Hara. It's coming from your Yetzer Hara. So he says here, when we use our mind as a tool to solve problems, then it's amazing. But next thing you know, if you use your intellect to become the inner critic of your life, then it's a problem. So our mind, we need our mind. We need to develop our dad. We need to develop our intellect. But when the mind becomes the inner critic, and the mind is telling you not good enough, and the mind's telling me, look, this is bad again. Then what happens, it works against me, and it shuts me down. So the mind has to work as the inner critic, as the help you solve problems, not become. So when you're in your neshama state, you recognize, I am a soul. I am not attached to anything. I am a soul. A soul observes the intellect. The soul is not the intellect. So you start observing things, like we said many times. When we stop taking things personal, it's because when we're in a soul state, we recognize A is having a bad day, has nothing to do with me. George is having a bad day, but it's nothing to do with me. I'm observing George scream for no reason. George is screaming at me because I'm not good enough. See the difference? I'm interpreting through a proper, which Viktor Frankl, a proper space between the stimulus and the reaction. When I can go from a stimulus to a reaction, a stimulus happens, and then a reaction, I take a pause, then I start going into my soul state. I start responding instead of reacting. So that's how you know, then you don't get upset. But if you're not in your soul state, you're going to get upset. See, that's the difference. How do you know you're in your soul state? When you have self-control. When people don't affect you. If they affect you, then you're not in your soul state. You're in your, God forbid, ego state. Because that's what the ego does. The ego blocks perception, like we said a few times. So if we're in a Shamah state, any decision we make from our Neshama state becomes a place where we don't attach ourselves to anything. We don't attach ourselves to people's energy. We never say, this person made me angry. We never say, that person thinks this of me. Because it's nothing to do with us. The way people feel about themselves has nothing to do with us. But to get there, you have to have a master control of not making everything about you. Now, if something bothers you in that person, like we said from the Baal Shem Tov, say, you know what? Maybe Hashem is sending me a signal that I need to change something. Maybe if my spouse is angry, it's really because I'm really angry. That means if they bother you, if that person if it doesn't bother you, then it's not about you. But if that person bothers you, specifically about you. Let's take another concept here from Daniel Amen. He has a great book on Change Your Life, Change Your Brain. And he talks about automatic negative thoughts. 10 thoughts that a person automatically, these are 10 thoughts that if you're not thinking about anything, automatically these things are going to pop into your mind right away. Which is, again, the Yetzer Tov versus the Yetzer Hara. Number 1, all or nothing thinking. All or nothing thinking. We've already said that every hour there's a new energy in the world. Every day there's a new energy in the world. Every minute, Rav Nachman says they used to check his pulse, and his pulse would change constantly because he reinvented himself. So when a person has an all or nothing thinking, he can wake up at 10 o'clock, he can have a bad email. See, the day's over. This day's terrible. No mazal this day. At 10 o'clock in the morning, he could say this. Or the lady she doesn't put enough sugar in Starbucks. Nothing goes my way. So the whole day is finished because she didn't put one extra sugar in your coffee. You understand? Where people, they start already calling the day finished by one incident. Not a good sign. That means all or nothing. Either it's all good or it's all nothing. So you become very sensitive to little things. But didn't we already speak about many times that usually blessings that come to people, they don't come from the front door. They usually come dressed up like monsters. You know, how many times has the person been fired, and because he got fired, he ended up in a better job? I mean, how many times does it happen? You hear that story, oh my God, you wouldn't believe what happened. I thought it was the worst thing that I got fired. Next thing you know, I'm in a much better job. Well, who orchestrated that for you? You thought that was good for you, but Hashem says, I got something better for you. So I'm going to destroy that for you. Or how many times does one relationship go bad? You're stressing, I can't believe this happened. Next thing you know, you're in a relationship 10 times better. How many times does this happen? It's to show you that you're not in control of anything. So when these things happen, if we don't properly recognize there's a light after this proposed chaos, then you stay in the chaos. Like we said, if I have my heart is stuck, how could that good news come to me? How could the good news come to me if I'm in a bad mood? I'm not going to pick up the phone call. I'm not going to pick up the phone. Do we feel like picking up the phone when in a bad mood? No. Maybe that's that phone call you need. So you start recognizing, start observing. Wow, imagine if that customer really, maybe that phone call is going to be very good for me. But you don't pick it up because you're in a bad mood. See how much your bad mood costs you? How many times do somebody broke up with somebody, listen, I have a great girl for you, I have a great guy for you. Nah, they're all the same. But if you think like that, how are you going to get married? They're all the same. It's always going to be the same. All or nothing thinking. Think about it, how much that could be your possible zivug. No, they're all the same. This is where it can start costing you. Your mood can cost you. That's why if you're not in a good mood, take a break. Take a break. Go work out. Go do something good. Change your state, and then get back into the game. Take a break. You have to. Sometimes in life, you have to take a break. No matter what you're thinking about, it's better not to overthink something. Rabbi Nachman tells us, take a break. Take a break. Take a break. Take a 20-minute mental break. Do something different, and then go back into that situation different. I take breaks all the time. When you're dealing with Moroccans, you got to take breaks every 15 minutes. Second, always one Moroccan joke. That's it. No more Moroccan jokes. Okay. Second type of automatic negative thought is always. Always. Saying always. You Moroccan? No. He's Moroccan. Sorry. Half is every half hour.
I'm good.
Having the mindset of always. Again, once we start getting into this always, it's always like that. You have an employee, always like that. It's always going to be like that. Again, no possible newness to come. If you're saying that always, it's already, that's it. It's the same, it's a repetitive action when something goes wrong. So that's a sign that you're not thinking. You're just going with your emotions. Third, focusing on the negative in the situation. The reverse azamra. Instead of thinking, wow, there's something good in this, remember guys, it's not easy to do this. So that's why you have to really, really, really be mindful. And saying there's got to be good in this. Rabbi Nachman says, if you have a good day, enjoy the day. When you have a day that's concealed, you have to look for the good in that day. So sometimes the day will be revealed to me. But sometimes it's not going to be revealed. I have to actually go look for it. I have to look for it. It's very important. Not every day you're going to have clarity. There's days of tremendous clarity, but there's days that I have to search for clarity. Through prayer, through mindfulness, through thinking differently. So remember, it's nothing wrong with you. It's stop attaching yourself to an emotion. Stop attaching yourself to that meaning, because that's the meaning that you're giving to it. Understand? It's very, very important. 4, fortune telling. Predicting what other people are saying about you, or predicting the outcome of the situation. The date's never going to work. This is never going to work. That deal's never going to work. Again, same concept. This is an automatic, he calls it an ant. Automatic negative thought. That means you already said it before even thinking about it. This said, oh, it's not going to work out. Remember people say, they even said it's not going to work out before you even told them the idea. Did you ever hear that? Did you even hear the idea? No, it's not going to work out. That's already, again, a stuffed heart. 5, mind reading. Mind reading. I don't think you love me. Did I say anything to you? You're reading my mind. Doesn't seem like you love me. You're a mind reader? You're a fortune teller now? Stop making it about you. Mind reading means making assumptions of what other people are saying about you when they're not even talking about you. I did a group in my rehab center, and I was talking to a random client, and some other client across the room, see, he's talking about me. I'm talking about the Dolphins tanking the whole season. I'm not talking about this guy, but this guy, he was so made everything about him, he thought we were talking about him. So you could see how when a person doesn't feel good about himself, he makes everything, again, very sensitive, making everything about him. But these are things, these are automatic negative thoughts. 6, thinking with your feelings, obviously. Thinking with your feelings. This is why Hashem punished the spies when they said, we are like grasshoppers in their eyes. Who said you're a grasshopper? You felt like a grasshopper, so you think everybody else thinks of you like a grasshopper. So the punishment that Hashem wasn't for the low self-esteem, it was for already making decisions on emotions instead of intellect. And this is why Tisha B'Av, because of the sin, because they didn't feel good about themselves, so they assumed everybody else doesn't think about you like that. It's very important, because ruin your whole life thinking like this, God forbid. Guilt bearings. I never do. And the last, obviously, is personalization, taking things personal in life. That's the number one way that's automatically going to ruin your life. Because then you can never really interpret anything else, because we constantly created an automatic. So again, the whole purpose of this class is to really start observing our thinking, recognizing that we have a Sahara, recognizing that the Sahara wants to block the light, recognizing that gratitude is so important, because gratitude breaks your thinking patterns. Gratitude forces me to be in the present. That's why gratitude, the people are 25% happier when they have gratitude journals. Gratitude is so important because it forces you to think and to really get out of your head and to really, even if you write it down, now you're not in your head anymore. You're in the moment. And that's why gratitude heals you, and there's so much reward for gratitude today. All right? That's it.